U.S. Lacrosse presents the 2018 Youth Boys Lacrosse Rules Interpretation video. U.S. Lacrosse developed the Athlete Development Model rules to teach the game to each player's level of cognitive and physical development. We don't expect a 10-year-old to participate in a high school science class because they don't have the fundamental knowledge and development experiences to be successful. Similarly, we should not require young athletes to play under rules that best serve collegiate and high school athletes. The needs of a youth player are different, and the ADM rules cater to where they are physically, mentally, and emotionally for their optimal athletic development. The points of emphasis for the 2018 season are sportsmanship, stick checks to the head, mouth guards, age-appropriate rules, experimental rules. Sportsmanship. Coaches, officials, and spectators are all partners in providing the best possible experience for youth players. Unsportsmanlike conduct by coaches, players, or spectators degrades the experience of youth players and discourages people from becoming or continuing as officials or coaches. This behavior erodes the integrity and appeal of our sport. Therefore, unsportsmanlike conduct should not be tolerated, and U.S. Lacrosse expects officials to enforce unsportsmanlike conduct rules without hesitation. Stick checks to the head. Stick contact to the head while actively making a stick check is a slash. Coaches are encouraged to teach controlled stick checking techniques, and officials are expected to penalize stick checks to the head with a 1-minute releasable personal foul at minimum. Mouth guards. In 2017, the foul for a mouth guard violation was changed from a personal foul to a technical foul to encourage penalty enforcement for those who violate the rule. Coaches should encourage players to wear mouth guards at all times, and officials are expected to call the foul. Age-appropriate rules. There are vast differences in physical literacy, cognitive development, and emotional maturity between an 8-year-old and a 14-year-old. As such, players should be participating with age-appropriate rules which include, but are not limited to, field sizes, stick lengths, body contact, and stick contact. Visit uslacrosse.org/rules to read all of the rule changes and clarifications for the 2018 season for each age level. Experimental rules. The U.S. Lacrosse Men's Rules Subcommittee encourages leagues and tournaments to try several experimental rules listed in the 2018 Youth Boys Rulebook. Leagues and tournaments that have either positive or negative feedback on the experimental rules are encouraged to contact boysrules@uslacrosse.org. 2018 Youth Boys Lacrosse Rule Changes. Rule 4.8.1. A goal shall be counted as long as the ball has been released from the player's stick prior to the expiration of a period. If the ball deflects off the goalkeeper or a defender and goes into the goal is good. If the ball deflects off an offensive player and goes into the goal does not count. Rule 5.7. Contact of any degree made to an opponent's helmet while actively making a stick check is a slashing penalty. In this example, the white defender makes contact to the player's helmet while attempting a stick check, and the official correctly throws the flag. Rule 5.10. Spectators, in addition to players, coaches, and team personnel, can cause a time-serving unsportsmanlike penalty. Sportsmanship is a point of emphasis this season, and U.S. Lacrosse expects that spectators contribute to a positive sporting atmosphere for the players. Rule 1.2.1. The unified small-sided field diagram is now an allowable alternative to the existing boys' 60 by 35 yard field. Rule 4.31. In the event that a loose ball cannot be picked up due to 3 or more players being caught in a scrum or scramble, officials should wait approximately 4 seconds before stopping play and awarding the ball via alternate possession. Rule 5.10. The second and subsequent violations by a team when their defensive player enters the crease and assumes the position of a goalie shall result in a releasable unsportsmanlike penalty served by the offending player. Rule 6.10. When stalling rules are applied, they remain in effect until a shot hits the goal pipe, goalie, or the goalie's equipment, in addition to the existing rules for stopping a stall warning, which include a goal being scored, the defense gaining possession, and a period ending resulting in a face-off. Rule 2.1.1. A team may have a maximum of 2 players using long crosses, which are 47 to 54 inches in length, not counting the goalkeeper's cross, in the game at any time. Rule 2.1.1. When playing 7-on-7, a team may have a maximum of 3 players using long crosses, which are 52 to 72 inches in length, not counting the goalkeeper's cross, in the game at any time. Equipment. The mandatory equipment for ages 8U, 10U, 12U, and 14U is a helmet, mouthguard, shoulder pads, arm pads, gloves, shoes or cleats, a protective cup, and a lacrosse stick. This equipment is mandatory because the rules at these age levels permit stick and limited body checking, and the players use a regulation hard lacrosse ball. The mandatory equipment for 6U is a mouthguard, gloves, shoes or cleats, and a lacrosse stick. These age levels use less equipment because the rules prohibit all stick and body checking, and the players use a soft lacrosse or tennis ball. Checking. ADM rules encourage fundamental defensive play, which includes some stick checking and age-appropriate body contact. Players should be able to learn the fundamental skills of the game before the introduction of body and stick checks commonly seen at the high school and collegiate levels. At all levels, it is illegal to violently swing a cross at an opponent regardless of whether the check hits the opponent's cross or his gloved hand. To promote good defensive fundamentals, the rules restrict players to 3 types of stick checks: lift checks, poke checks, a downward check that does not go above either player's shoulders. Here are 2 examples of illegal stick checks that must be called: a one-handed stick check, violent and reckless slap checks from above the shoulder. Watch the white riding player pull his stick back, intending to throw an illegal downward check, and instead restrains himself and does not draw a penalty. When illegal stick checks are penalized by the officials, and when coaches teach their players how to perform legal stick checks, we see examples of restraint like this. At all levels, it is illegal to body check an opponent with enough force to knock him to the ground. ADM rules promote safe body contact by encouraging players to use good defensive positioning and legal holds, pushes, and body contact to redirect or force an opponent into an unfavorable position. Here is an example of legal body contact. The defender uses his body and makes contact with the offensive player's chest with his hands together, with just enough force to dislodge the ball. Here is another example of legal body contact. Notice the excellent defensive footwork of the defending player. The following clips are examples of high hits and hits to defenseless players that must be flagged with a minimum penalty time of 2 minutes, non-releasable. In this clip, the gold player is hit from his blind side while his head is down to pick up a loose ball. In this clip, the gold sliding defender body checks his opponent and his hands extend up into the offensive player's head and neck. In this final clip, the blue player can be seen lining up the white player from a distance of 10 to 15 yards. He then violently body checks the white player. This is an example of a body check that should result in an ejection, as the body check was excessive and unnecessary. Body checks like this have no place at any age level. Game control. Players can't have fun when the game environment is full of coaches or spectators making inappropriate, obscene, or profane comments. Therefore, officials are expected to penalize any issues regarding improper conduct or behavior from anyone at the game. This season, the rules allow the officials to penalize a team for the inappropriate behavior of a spectator, starting with a 1-minute non-releasable penalty. Before spectator behavior gets to the point of a penalty, U.S. Lacrosse recommends officials and coaches follow these steps. The official asks the head coach to speak with the spectators. The head coach warns his spectators and explains to them that their behavior does not benefit the game and it must stop or they will get a penalty. If the behavior continues, the official penalizes the team. The team's in-home serves a 1-minute non-releasable penalty. If the behavior of one or more spectators is judged to be flagrant, then the officials should eject the offending person or persons from the game venue and not resume the game until they have left. Coaches and officials must work together to ensure the best possible environment for the players. U.S. Lacrosse offers several e-learning options for officials looking to improve their knowledge of lacrosse and is a tremendous benefit to our members. At learning.uslacrosse.org, official members can view the Boys Lacrosse Rules course to establish fundamental knowledge of NFHS rules and application. Officials can also order professional development webinars on topics such as game management, crease play, mechanics, and more from some of the top officials working games today. Officials can also learn more on the U.S. Lacrosse Men's Game videos page about the rules of the game, challenge themselves by watching You Make the Call videos, and see in-depth analysis of different penalties and mechanics provided by the Men's Official Development Task Force. Thank you for watching the 2018 Youth Boys Lacrosse Rules presented by U.S. Lacrosse. Remember to stay ahead of the play and have a great season.